Let's talk about something you probably never think about. Rare earth magnets. Not your grandma's fridge magnets. These are the superheroes of the magnet world. And they're everywhere. Your phone, headphones, computer, toothbrush, and especially your car. They make tech smaller, lighter, and more efficient. These tiny powerhouses are the unsung heroes of modern life. Most of us have no idea they exist or where they come from. Like electricity, you only notice when it's gone. Rare earth magnets are a looming, invisible uh-oh for everyone. They enable our favorite gadgets and green tech. But here's the kicker. Our access to them is hanging by a thread. And that thread, mostly controlled by one country. If that doesn't make you nervous, you haven't been paying attention. These magnets are tiny miracles, but our supply is fragile. The world's tech runs on them, but the supply chain is a house of cards. So next time you use your phone, remember, there's a hidden world of magnets making it all work. And that world is a lot more precarious than you think. The question is, what happens if that thread snaps? Because, historically, trusting authoritarian regimes with your tech supply isn't a great bet. We're all a little too comfortable with this invisible risk. Maybe it's time to pay attention. Because rare earth magnets, they're everywhere. And that's the problem. Let's find out why. So, what are rare earth magnets? Not magical, not rare, just annoyingly hard to get. Rare earth means 17 elements, mostly lanthanides, plus scandium and yttrium. They're not rare, just tough to separate, like a bad trail mix. When mixed with iron, boron, or cobalt, they make magnets that are shockingly strong for their size. That's why your phone isn't a brick and your headphones sound amazing. Neodymium and samarium are the real MVPs here. Stronger magnets mean smaller, more efficient motors, critical for electric vehicles and wind turbines. Your hard drive, MRI machines, even military gear rely on them. Without these magnets, modern tech grinds to a halt. And it's not just about gadgets. National defense depends on them too. Precision missiles, stealth jets, advanced radar, all need rare earth magnets. If you can't get them, you can't build the tech or defend your country. That's why the supply chain matters so much. It's not just about convenience, it's about security. So, next time you see a sleek gadget, remember, it's powered by a tiny titan. And those titans are harder to get than you think. The world runs on them, but the world doesn't control them. That's the real problem. We're all hooked. And the supply is anything but certain. So, how did we get here? Let's dig deeper. Where do these crucial magnets come from? Mostly, China. Picture a pie chart. Almost the whole thing is China. China controls about 60% of rare earth mining, 85% of processing, and over 90% of high-strength magnet production. Even if other countries mine the ore, they often send it to China for processing. It's like growing wheat but needing your neighbor to bake the bread. This wasn't an accident. China played the long game. Decades ago, they saw the strategic value and invested heavily. Deng Xiaoping said it best, the Middle East has oil, China has rare earths. They subsidized, scaled up, and built a near monopoly. Now, China can set prices, restrict supply, and wield huge geopolitical power. In 2010, a dispute with Japan led to delayed shipments, proof that supply isn't guaranteed. This isn't just economics, it's leverage. China holds the magnetic cards, and the rest of the world is playing catch-up. The result? A fragile global supply chain, vulnerable to politics. If China decides to squeeze, the world feels it. That's why this matters. It's not just about tech, it's about power. The world's dependence on China for magnets is a strategic risk, and it didn't happen by chance, it was a plan. Now everyone else is scrambling to keep up. The question is, can they? Because right now China is the world's magnet overlord, and that's a problem for everyone else. The stakes are high and the clock is ticking. So what happens when the supply gets squeezed? Let's see. What happens if the magnet supply gets cut? Chaos. The U.S. military's F-35 jet needs nearly 1,000 pounds of rare earths per plane. No magnets, no jets. Electric vehicles? Their motors rely on rare earth magnets. No supply, no EV revolution. Wind turbines? Same story. Rare earths make them efficient. A shortage means fewer wind farms, higher costs, and a slower green transition. These aren't hypotheticals. Price spikes and supply threats have already hit manufacturers. Companies scramble, stockpile, or pray the supply keeps flowing. It's a risky way to run critical industries. The world's green future and national security are both at stake. When China squeezes, everyone feels it. The supply chain is fragile and the consequences are real. We've seen the warning signs. Now it's a race to find solutions. Depending on one supplier is a gamble. And the odds aren't in our favor. The world needs a backup plan. Fast. How did the U.S. lose its rare earth edge? Short-term thinking. The Mountain Pass mine in California was once the world's top producer. But in the 1980s and 90s, China ramped up production, slashed prices, and outcompeted everyone. Cheap labor and lax regulations let China flood the market. Prices crashed and U.S. mines shut down. By 2002, Mountain Pass closed. Cheaper to buy from China than make your own. The U.S. offshored its supply chain, lost expertise, and let the industry wither. Meanwhile, China moved up the value chain, processing, manufacturing, dominating. America dismantled its own ecosystem while China built theirs. It's a textbook case of losing industrial dominance, slowly then suddenly. Now the U.S. is playing catch-up. The lesson? Ignore the supply chain and you lose it. China's strategy worked, America's didn't. The result: dependence, vulnerability, and a scramble to rebuild. It's a cautionary tale for any critical industry. Once you lose the lead, it's hard to get it back. The world is learning that the hard way. The question is, can the U.S. recover? Or is it too late? The U.S. finally woke up and realized, we need our own magnets. Now there's a rush to rebuild the supply chain, from mine to magnet. The government and private companies are investing, but it's slow and costly. MP Materials revived Mountain Pass, but for years still sent ore to China for processing. Building, processing, and manufacturing at home is tough, expensive, technical, and time-consuming. Environmental rules make it harder, but cleaner. NIMBYism slows new projects. Everyone wants magnets, no one wants a mine nearby. Training a skilled workforce takes time. Can the U.S. catch up? Maybe, but it'll take massive investment and political will. The best hope: a more diversified global supply, not total independence. China won't stand still. They'll keep innovating and defending their lead. The worst case? China keeps all the cards, and the world stays vulnerable. Ignoring the problem hasn't worked. It's time to act, not just worry, because these invisible magnets power everything, and the risk is real. The world needs a backup plan, and fast. The future of tech, energy, and security depends on it. Rare earth magnets out of sight, but too important to ignore. The next move is ours.